I'm AC Brown, and you're listening to Is My Aura On Straight, a podcast designed to help you start living from your core instead of your conditioning. Each week, we'll discuss topics ranging from human design, astrology, metaphysics, spiritual self-development, and everything in between. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Is My Aura On Straight. I am your host, AC Brown. I'm your spiritual doula, intuitive strategist, and human design expert, and I'm also an entrepreneur. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. If you've been following me for a while, especially on Facebook, I love doing celebrity chart analysis and taking a look at the human design charts of different celebrities. So people who either have the same birthday or, the same aura type can somehow relate, but it also gives us a little bit of an insight to how these particular celebrities, public figures, thought leaders, or millionaires or billionaires operate in their life and how it correlates to human design. So today I'm going to do the one and only, one of my favorite projectors, Barack Obama. I could have picked a number of projectors to do, but Barack Obama's human design chart is pretty unique, and I'm going to post a link. Well, if you go to my website, his chart will be in the show notes under this episode, and you'll be able to see his chart. The reason why I chose Barack and why I like reading his chart or projectors who have undefined throat centers, because there's a lot of projector unicorns out there, what I like to call projector unicorns. And a projector unicorn is a projector who has a defined throat center. And we'll talk about the centers in another episode. But when you have a defined throat center, people hear you a lot more. And as you know, if you don't already know, being a projector, you are here to be invited, to wait to be seen. You're invited to things, and sometimes speaking for us is a little bit challenging for people to hear us. So that's why I wanted to really do the first celebrity chart analysis with Barack Obama. Of course, he's everybody's favorite president. He's still my favorite president. And I just think his chart is really amazing to where he's, come from. So what we're going to go over today with his chart is his aura type. And I'm also going to touch a little bit on Barack's sun and rising sign and some of the aspects of his human design chart that make him the perfect president. One of my favorite quotes that Barack Obama has said before is, "Money is not the only answer, but it makes a difference." So I like to start there. So let's just get into his chart a little bit. Barack Obama, he is a 6'2" projector. I'm not going to talk about profiles. I'll be talking about profiles in another episode. And I'm not going to really touch on that here because it's a little bit too in depth. We're just going to skim sort of the surface of the basics of his chart and a little bit of intricacy stuff. He also has a sun in Leo. His rising sign is in Aquarius and his moon is in Gemini. So Barack Obama, he's a projector 6'2". And if you're not familiar with what a projector is, the purpose of a projector is to guide and direct other people's energies. Guide and direct other people's energies, guide and direct mostly generators and manifesting generators, and guide and direct the creation of energy as well. A lot of projectors are leaders, they're thought leaders, they're healers, they're consultants, they're strategists. Projectors have this way of seeing things that other people don't see. But the strategy for projectors is, of course, to wait for the invitation. So waiting for the invitation for projectors can sometimes be a little bit taxing because we have this thing where we want these big invitations and we're also waiting to be seen from other people. So I think Barack Obama's chart is extremely interesting just for the simple fact that he was the president of the United States. That's like the biggest stage ever to be seen, but it was a journey for him. Now, projectors are best when we are leading. Projectors are not meant to work regular 9 to 5s. I always tell projectors, if you have to work, get a job that literally you just have to show up and like do the job. Like it doesn't require you to like think, be stressed out. So if you love working, it has to be something that you're super passionate about, or you're either a supervisor or a manager or some type of head of the department where you are guiding and directing everyone else, because a regular 9 to 5 is going to kill you eventually. And I mean not physically, but your spirit and your soul, and that's worse. So I'm going to go into projector men and careers. With projectors, success happens over time. And for projector men especially, success happens a lot over time, more than female projectors, more than women projectors. So projector men really need something to master, just like generators. And that's because a lot of projectors, especially projector men, are often missed or typed. Some people think they are generators, but that's really because men, they hang around other men, and most men are generators or manifesting generators. So as projectors, since we don't have any defined sacral energy, we will pick up the energy of those manifesting generators and pure generators. So we automatically pick up that energy of go, go, go. And of course, you also have that male energy of, being raised and you being a man and working hard and all of that stuff. So that's why a lot of projector men are looked at as generators. But projector men do need to master something that is best for them. So projector men have trouble following their passion. And sometimes projector men, depending on their stage in their careers, might have trouble with relationships. Luckily for Barack, he married Michelle, who's a pure generator. And I'll talk about this in the relationship episode, but I can't emphasize enough just about the studies that I've done about all of the wealthy projector men or projector women who are, vice versa. The projector generator combination is unlike any other. And I'm not just emphasizing that because I'm a projector, but this is just from my research. It's a wealth generating, legacy generating type of couple. You have Barack and Michelle, Steven Spielberg and his wife, Kate Capshaw. Actually, Jeff Bezos and Gabrielle Bezos, he's a projector. She's a generator. Even though they're divorced, they also built a huge legacy within their last 20 years of being together, or however long they were together. So you have these major wealth generating energies from a projector partner and a generator partner. So Michelle at one point was making more money than Barack, but Michelle saw the vision, because anybody who's who's in a relationship or marriage with a projector, I can't stress to you enough how important it is for you to believe them in their vision, because that's how powerful the projector vision is, not only for themselves, but for you two as a couple. A lot of people can't grasp that, they can't grasp that whole concept, but I'm here to tell you, just from my research alone, how well projectors and generators work together. So even if it's not a romantic relationship, a business relationship is great, friendship, as you can see from Oprah and Gail, projector generator combinations are phenomenal. And the reason why I say that is because Barack wouldn't be where he is without the support of Michelle, or without the support of a generator. Because we are waiting to be invited and waiting for invitations, that can be very taxing for a projector to be seen, to be heard, to have this huge vision for yourself, for your life, for your legacy, and having to climb that ladder of being seen and being heard. So you need that generator counterpart to pretty much balance out the energy for you, because they have this, they're here to build. So they're going to be building their own thing and supporting you at the same time while you build your thing. So it's a really great combination, but I'll talk more about that in the relationship episode. But back to his chart. So Michelle, definitely helped Barack to be who he is, which is great. So what he did master when he was coming up in the reins of law, he mastered law, and he was a civil rights attorney. And he found that passion, I believe from 1992 to 2004, extremely passionate. And then he started teaching law, which was a passion for him. And then he got an invitation to run for president through all of these other endeavors. But for projectors, passion is the key. And for projector men especially, passion and mastery is the key. I bring up Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg is a phenomenal projector. He has mastered, and he is extremely passionate about film making. Jeff Bezos, same thing. He had this vision for this one-stop shop of books, and look where Amazon is. He's like taking over for the 99 and the 2000, like everything. He's like, oh, we're gonna have supermarkets. We're gonna be one day delivering. Soon it's gonna be like, oh, you wanna handyman. It'll be Amazon Handy. Trust me, he has the vision already, and it's gonna happen. So Barack mastered something. He mastered law. And he mastered civil rights law. He started teaching it because that was a passion. And then he got his big invitation to be the president of the United States. For Barack, throughout this career of his, I could just imagine him talking to Michelle like, I'm going to be president one day, or this can happen. Or when he was, doing his thing in Chicago on the political, climate there, and just that's how big projector visions are. And to some generators, I'm sure Michelle was like, okay, whatever. But I'm sure she also believed him, because I'm sure he had evidence of other things happening, throughout the course of their relationship. And so with that being said, of him having this big vision of being the president of the United States, that wasn't accident. He visualized it. He mastered law on his level where he was, and he probably saw that at some point, and it was just about the world catching up and inviting him to do that, and they did. And he was president for 8 years, and he was a great president, whether you're indifferent with his policies and all of that stuff or not. He was a change for everyone. So I really want to emphasize that for projectors. And if you're a projector man listening to this and you have found your passion and you're waiting for that big invitation, keep on going. Same for projector women. Keep going. Keep finding your bliss, following your bliss. Projectors always say, what does that mean, following my bliss? It means be happy until that thing comes. I like to say, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. I believe Will Smith said that best. That was his quote, but that is like the quintessential projector quote. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So when that invitation comes, you're ready. Just imagine if Obama went back and forth all the time about, oh, maybe not, maybe I'm going to be president, and then they invited him and he wasn't ready, and then he would have been the vice president of the United States of America. That probably wouldn't even work, but you get my point. You get my point. So some of the other stuff that I want to go into in his chart is some of his gates, some key points about his chart. And like I said, you can go to my website at www.acbrown.com and just click on podcasts, and then his chart will be in the show notes. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the gates. I'm going to do a whole gate episode. Gates are my thing. Gates to me bring alive your human design chart. It's the auras type in your strategy. Of course, that's the foundation. But your gates really can change your life. To a level where it can help you tap into just different facets of your personality and things that you have to offer to the world that you either been sleeping on in yourself or that you've been afraid to like let loose. And I love the gates. Anybody who's had a reading from me knows how much I emphasize on gates and utilizing them and tapping into them. So we're going to talk a little bit about the gates. And so one of the gates that Barack has is gate 21. I love this gate. Gate 21 is actually part of the money channel, and it's management or the treasurer. So he's here to manage funds, to manage resources for the collective, for the community, or for the country. So its mastery is its authority, and in its lowest form, it could possibly be too controlling over the resources. So if you have gate 21, it doesn't mean that you're great with money, because he has this unconscious. So it's something that you have to learn and overcome, but it means that you have the potentials to be really good with money, good with resources. What does a treasurer do? What do people in management do? They manage things well. They manage money well. They manage resources well. The next gate that he has that I really love is gate number 2, which is receive support, or I like to call that gate the trophy wife gate. And for more reasons than one, not necessarily because he was a trophy wife, but in some cases, he was a trophy husband for a little bit, as far as if you look at the Michelle making more money than him at some point. But it means receive support. It means receive support from your community, from the people around you, from, your constituents in his case, from, the collective, receiving support. It's trusting in the support that you get. It's allowing that support to come to you. And it can also mean that, if you're not careful, then you could possibly feel lost and unsupported with that gate. The next gate that he has is another favorite gate. I love when people have this gate when I read charts, because it makes so much sense. But he has gate 44, and that's the patterns gate. And now the gate names, I've either renamed them on my own thing, or some human design people and some things have them named differently. So, but they still have the same energy. This was what I call the patterns gate. So, but this gate is about teamwork. It's about working together for the highest good of the collective, which Barack Obama did the best that he could. He, solid as Barack. He gave it all. Every time I think of Barack Obama, this is so sidebar. If you go to YouTube, when he was running for office, I think it was either the first time or the second time, but SNL, yes, I still watch SNL every weekend. I DVR and I watch it. Maya Rudolph, and I forgot who was playing Barack Obama. They did a skit, and it was called Solid as Barack. And it was like, Solid as Barack. And it was just so funny. And every time I think of Barack Obama, I just think of that skit. Anyway, so gate 44 is about teamwork and working together for the highest good of the collective. It's also a clear olfactant gate. People who have this gate usually have a high sense of clear smelling. They can smell the rain. They can smell different energies when they walk into a room. Smell is very important to them. They can also, in some cases, people say they can smell when people are pregnant, but it's a very high form of smell. But it's about patterns, and it's about teamwork, working together for the highest good of the collective, which he's done very well. And then he also has another favorite gate of mine, which is gate 19. And gate 19 is the intimacy gate. And this gate is part of a channel, which is the love and marriage channel. The other half of that channel is gate 49. People who have, and this is my theory from reading charts, from research, people who have either gate 19 or gate 49 or either both, they work better. And when I mean work better, and this is not an end all be all. So people who have this, don't freak out if you're single, if you're not married or not in a long-term relationship. But in my experience, people who have either gate 19 or gate 49 or both, they work well, or they thrive better in their own life if they are in a relationship. because that's part of the love and marriage channel. And that channel is being a part of the collective and working for the collective, within the collective. So just imagine what a marriage is and doing that. So he has that. It's intimacy. It's also a clairsentience, kind of get clear feeling. It's very sensitive. It's extremely sensitive. I have this gate. It's extremely sensitive. But it's deeply connected to the collective, to the energy of partnership, to the energies of relationships with people. Sometimes, it can be a little bit dependent on stuff, but it's also connected just to animals, just connected just very deeply to the collective. So if you have that gate, or if you have the other gate, or that whole line, you're very sensitive and you're deeply connected to the collective, to your partners, to relationships. Nothing wrong with that. It's just an observation. You can work with it to the best of your abilities. Some of the other stuff that I want to talk about with Barack and why I think his chart is very interesting is because Barack has a lot of open centers in his chart. Now there's 9 centers in the human design chart. Barack has 7 open centers. That's a lot. He has 7 open centers, and that is surprising for me because he became the president of the United States. A lot of famous people, if you want to say, or people, public figures who are projectors, usually they don't have as many open centers that I've discovered, and they usually have a defined throat center. Not always, but most of the time. What the centers are, the centers correlate to your emotions in your physical body, mental, spiritual, emotional well-being. They're all interconnected to health. They're also correlating to chakras, but not all of them because there's 9. And so each center means something different. I'm going to talk about this strictly in another podcast just because it's very in depth. So, just subscribe and stay tuned. So one of the centers that Barack has is he has an open spleen center. And the spleen center is like clear knowing. He just knows things. And that is, a center that is about clear knowing stuff. But he has so many open centers where it's just like, wow, this is interesting. One of the open centers, he has an open G center. You'll hear that a lot in human design, open G. The G center is the center for your identity. People who have open Gs, I have an open G, go through a period in their life where they're figuring out who they are. It's usually in the teens or the 20s where they're figuring out who they are, why they're here. Majority of people with open Gs, they are very, I would like to say, I'm going to have friends from all walks of life. I don't judge people. Like, I don't look at people, differently for where they come from or anything like that. I have friends from all walks of life. I have an open G center. When you have a defined G, you're a little bit more fixed in your self. You really know who you are, and it's kind of, it's just more sure. Open Gs go through periods and waves of discovery of themselves. And so him having an open G center is just really interesting because I can't imagine the wave of emotions and figuring out who you are and figuring out your purpose, all to become the president of the United States. That dream, that vision that he had, the self-belief had to be so strong. And that's one thing that projectors, if you walk away from anything from this particular episode in this podcast, is that your self-belief has to be extremely strong because yes, we are waiting for someone to recognize us. But first we have to recognize ourselves. Not to get all, to get all spiritual and woo-woo on you, but you have to recognize yourself. You have to recognize who you are. And anybody, if you have an open G center period, whatever aura type you are, you have to recognize yourself. You have to acknowledge yourself. and know that your journey to where you are, to, who you're trying to become is what it is. It's a journey. But you will get there with that self-belief. So that's Barack Obama's chart. Nothing major. Don't want to, keep you long. I'm going to be infusing a lot more of in between the episodes. Maybe it'll be 3 episodes on learning, and then I'll throw in a celebrity chart. But I want to make this more digestible for everyone listening. I want to make this more practical, more down to earth, not so over your head like woo-wooey. Like I said, I've been studying this over 8 years, and I am a projector, but I'm also, like I said before, I study this stuff. So, I study a lot. So just definitely, stick with me. You're rocking with the best, and, just go along for the ride. If you have any questions, you can totally email me. If you want one of your questions answered on the podcast, email me and just put in the subject line, help my aura. I can keep you anonymous. You don't have to send me your birth time. Just send me your aura type and the other people's aura types involved, and I'll answer that. I don't have any help my auras for this podcast, so I hope I get an email from someone so I like doing that the last podcast. Also too, if you want to get more information on your strategy, I have a mini course called The Art of the Strategy. You can find it on my website at www.acbrown.com, or I'll put it in the show notes. And you can just get some information about stepping up your strategy, what that looks like, attracting abundance with your strategy, proper strategies, invitations, what all the strategies are. So I, break down what each strategy is, and I break it down per aura type. So it's a nice little mini course. And if you don't know your aura type, please go to the link in my bio in my Instagram and send me your information, and I'll send you back some information with your aura type. But until then, thank you so much for listening once again. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you want to know about a particular celebrity and me to read their chart on the podcast for one of the celebrity chart analysis, please let me know, and I will totally do that. So you can send me an email. Make sure you're following me on Instagram. And if you're not on my email list, I can put you on there, or you can sign up for it. But until next time, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will talk to you again next time. Thank you for listening to another episode of Is My Aura on Straight. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at acbrown, and also check out my website for products and services at www.acbrown.com. And until we meet again, make sure you have a great week filled with good vibes and good energy.